Hi and welcome, it's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. So today I wanted to just do a little rundown on what's going on because there's a lot of information that mainstream media and scientific organisations are just simply not telling the public. Maybe they feel that it's not in the public interest to know, or there might be another reason, and for that matter I thought I'd just go through a few things. Now what I've done on this map showing the highest intensities, obviously the lower intensities are in blue. That is the intensity over Brazil going over towards South Africa. That's the low intensity. It's also got another name. It's called the South Atlantic Anomaly. But you can see that there are dark regions on our planet over the northern hemispheres, which I've marked with N for North Poles, and down on the southern hemisphere you can see I've marked S for South Poles. I've also put some plus signs in which represent exactly, or no, let me say this, not exactly where the poles are, but roughly where they are. Now you would generally think that our Earth would not have four high regions of intensity, and if it was not for the case that we've got four, the poles would be directly over the high intensities of where I've marked norths and souths on this map. But because we've got two over in the northern hemisphere and two in the southern hemisphere, if we just focus on what's going on in the northern hemisphere, we can see that the pole is neither over either of the intensities over Canada on the left and Russia on the right. And we can do this as a simple experiment using two magnets and a compass. If we put two magnets in the vicinity of a compass, it will point at neither of them. If we've just got one magnet there, it will be pointing directly at the one intensity or the one magnet. And that's exactly what's going on our Earth. First of all, you probably weren't aware that we've got four poles on our planet, and that the dipole was neither over either of the pole regions, or let's say for more scientific reasons, higher intensities of magnetism. If it was the case, the plus would be directly over the north. We know that the pole is Russia, and I'm going to show you a little video in a minute showing you how that is progressing over a short period of time. But the reason why it's doing that is because the pole over Canada is weakening, and the intensity over Canada is weakening, and the intensity over Russia is increasing, and therefore that little plus sign is moving closer to the stronger intensity and will eventually reside somewhere in Russia. That is, if that intensity over Russia does not dissipate and migrate elsewhere. Same thing is going on in the southern hemisphere, but not as severe as what is taking place over the northern hemisphere. The South Dipole has left the Antarctic Peninsula and is moving in the direction of the south coast of Australia at the moment. We've been progressively monitoring the magnetic north poles on our planet because, you know, first of all, we know that there's more activity going on in the northern hemisphere right now in terms of migrating over short spaces of distance and time, and therefore it's easier to track. We track that magnetic north pole around, I don't know, on average 200,000 or 300,000 times every month, and we pinpoint that position for you every month, or sometimes now as we're doing 2 times a month. What a lot of people don't know, other than the fact that there are 4 major intensities and that the dipoles do not point over either of those intensities, is that, you know, our magnetosphere is weakening. Something that's talked on other channels. What's not commonly talked about on other channels is this, what we're witnessing here. You know, these poles or these intensities, you know, decrease and increase. So, you know, I think it's better that you have the full picture, because obviously you're not getting this information from other channels, you're not getting it from your mainstream scientific bodies or anywhere else. Obviously the media aren't interested in this either for some reason, but it will spell implications for us further down the road, because as our magnetosphere weakens, as you know, the poles migrate, the intensity of the magnetosphere weakens, and that's our primary protective field. We've also gone through the last 3 solar cycles, which have enabled, the heliosphere to weaken, which is another type of magnetosphere. Only the heliosphere covers the whole of our solar system and protects us from galactic and intergalactic radiation in the form of cosmic rays. So we've got 2 weakened fields at the moment: our secondary, which is the heliosphere, and our primary, which is the magnetosphere. And it doesn't show any signs at this present time of getting any stronger. So there's an animation based on the data of weakening and strengthening intensities, and you can see in the top left the dipole moving towards Russia. As it is doing so, you can see also the intensity shrinking over Canada. Again, you could replicate this as an experiment using 2 magnets with a compass. If you slowly back off the magnet after you've got them aligned where the compass is pointing in between the 2, if you slowly back one off, you'll see the compass needle point more to the one with that hasn't moved. It's a simple experiment you could do yourself, but that is exactly what is taking place on our Earth, and that is why the poles are migrating. Again, no organisation have actually came out and told the general public why the poles are migrating. It's because the intensity under Canada is weakening and the intensity over Russia is increasing. For whatever reason they are doing that for is not yet known completely. It is argued that this is to do with the swirling metal in the inner of our core, which has recently been suggested is slowing down by professors of California University. It also fell in time when it was announced that the poles had started to behave slightly erratically and not normal like they normally was. As we was tracking them, if you remember, it went backwards a little bit, then forwards, then stopped, and then forwards again. It is at the moment progressing towards Russia as we expected. We know where the epicenter of the high intensity is over Russia, so we can almost pinpoint where the pole at this moment is directed and is travelling along that vector. We use Google Earth to put the pin marks every month, and you may already know that we're not far off the 40-degree mark, which is a theoretical 40-degree mark, that when we pass that mark we might well see those poles move from the strong field lines where the pole migrates slower, as we can see right now over the years, to a more increased pace as it enters the weak field lines. Again, based on the experiments that we did, we found that when they get to around about 40 degrees of rotating magnets, what happens to the compass needle is it sporadically moves after that point. So that is our theory, and we are just waiting for that point in time when it passes that 40-degree mark as to see what will happen. It is theoretical and not proposed as exact. So we put it on the table because we knew about it and we thought we'd share it regardless with you guys. So I'm going to leave it. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to do the Earth Alpha at a glance for you just before we round up and end the video. So here's what's been going on with your Earth and all the anomalies related to it. So we're over at poleshiftnews.com, our dedicated website to all these anomalies. And you can see we've had the equipment out this morning monitoring the CO2 at 427 parts per million. Now over the year it has started to drop, but again mainstream organisations and media won't talk about this. That's because if they do give an indication that the CO2 is falling, then they're not going to be able to continue with their CO2 plans and global warming plans, which is making trillions of dollars for them at the moment. The atmospheric atmospheric oxygen is, as it always is, a nice healthy 20+%, 20.31. The latitude and longitude of the latest magnetic North Pole pinpocation pin location is there for you, which we measured the other day. Radiation background is 0.15 microsieverts. There are 25 volcanoes in eruption, so slightly down from what we normally see, but you know, on average that's not bad. The largest earthquake is there, as you can see, just off New Zealand. We've got the muons per hour per square metre here in the UK at 492, muons per square metre in Canada at 783. Both of those readings are lower than normal, but not by a great deal. We have, if you look into the archive of the Earth Alpha at a glance, they have been in the 900s over Canada and over 500 here in the UK, so they are slightly down. Sunspot numbers are at 5, the geomagnetic field is quiet, solar X-rays are normal, and the jet streams are, as we know, unstable. That is because of this dislocation between polar and subtropical over the northern and southern hemispheres of our planet. That's the Earth Alpha at a glance for you guys. I'm going to say something different here as opposed to what I normally do, and that is, you can help yourselves and others receive regular information just like this by donating using the links below. Hope that comes across a bit better for people. And the only other thing to say is, you take care of your loved ones. As always, bye for now.